Thanks for clicking on the video. Like, subscribe, and share if you find this useful or interesting. In the last episode, you might have noticed that I was very pleased with myself as I was playing with my little shapeless lump of stuff with my little 3D curve. And it would be fair to ask, why is this guy so pleased with himself with that silly little lump? And that's because I had this in mind. I think we're at the point where we can start doing real design with a goal in mind. And now we have the elements that we need to do so. Now, I'm pretty happy with this right here. I don't know if you can see the way the highlight flows on this thing, the unified shape I have on this, how this has nice bulges out the side, and how I independently control the shape overall here. Now, I'm not a surfer. I'm not a surfboard maker. I just did some very quick Google searches on what the shape of a surfboard is. It has a top, it has a bottom, and it has the sides are called rails, and they need to have a very specific shape. And the overall bow on this line is called the, let me stop this. The overall shape on this line is called the rocker, and now this specific surfboard has zero rocker on the back half. It's completely flat, and it has only a little bit of rocker towards the nose. Now, that's appropriate for some type of surfing, apparently, but if you want to do acrobatics, you probably want a lot more curve overall. You can have it. I chose to do completely straight in the back and only curved in the front to show that I can control both of them independently. So let's go all the way back, because what I want to talk about today is the conceptual plan of how we go from my silly little lump that I can sculpt in 3D all the way to this. What is the path, and how is this even related in any way to the silly little lump? So let's just do a brief survey today of how we go from one to the next. This is where we were last time, and so I had created this cap face, and I had used this three-sided blend surface, which I said was a temporary thing that is useful in the early phases of design. That is, it's great to put it on there while you're still choosing the main shape. So this is where we left things off. The next step will be to clean it up. What do I mean by clean it up? So we will do a bottom exactly the same as we did the top. We will lower the quality. See how this has potato quality right here? We will lower the quality so that we can edit it fast. When we have this, we will actually, when we've done this phase, we will actually put that as our solid 3x4 in our library. Then we will start shaping it based on what we have, which means that we're not going to edit these. We're going to edit the layouts a little bit. We're going to edit the curves around the layouts a little bit, and I'm just keeping things, keeping the span curves straight, and I'm just giving it a very rough shape. You see right here, this is our lump with a top and bottom. This is this lump right here, and I've just aligned the sections and rotated them this way instead of that way, right? Instead of rotating in this direction, we are now rotating in this direction. And I've created a very silly outline of a surfboard kind of thing. I'm just getting the most I can out of these elements. So it's wide in the back, narrow in the front. It's still straight along these sections, but it has a big blend in the middle. So it's a long ways off, but it gives you the idea. This is how you start shaping a lump, okay? Once you've shaped this lump, you can start putting the 3D curves in. So here, if you look at it from the top, it's like, hey, okay, it's the overall dimensions are not quite right, but it's starting to do the right kinds of things. I have curve on both sides. I have curvature here, and I have curvature here. And you notice here that I've nicely separated where the front section bends is independent of the overall flow. So I can control both of those things independently. Then I really refine my curves. And I start to get really, really close to what I'm after. But I'm still using the very rough preview blends. And what do I mean by preview blends? Is that they work pretty well far away from where the three lines meet. As long as I look far away from where the three lines meet, I am getting a good rough idea of what my model is doing. But this part right here is really bad. It's doing some nasty things. You can't see how bad it is right now, but it has some serious distortions in it, and if you work with this, it's not even going to produce a very good solid. I mean, it is a solid technically, but the folds here are very difficult to work with. But I got it from my library object just by editing the curves. So it's useful to have that lump with those preview blends in the corners. What do I do after that? After that, I'm going to re-subdivide the back end and say, hey, this back end, I'm happy with the overall shape. Now I want to get rid of those massive defects. So I do a new subdivision of these surfaces, and I make a little square right here, and I round that square. And once I have this rounded edge, it allows me to create a high quality blend. This dark blue here is this piece here. This is a good quality surface. This piece here still has imperfections, and I'm actually going to replace that with a surface workbench filling object at the last minute. And here I've done that rounding. I call this a rolling corner, which means that there's a large radius around one edge and a much smaller radius right here. This is a good design feature, and to compare, I have not done it in the front. In the front, I still have three sides, and they're all basically the same, and they have the defect in the middle. You can't see it unless you really, really zoom in and go looking for it, but there's a defect. And the front is still fairly flat here. But I've independently reworked the back. So it's important to know that you can do this. You can make some of these corners really high quality with more work while leaving other ones as they are, because in your case, it may not matter enough. So I've shown that I can do just some of them, and in this case I choose to say, no, I'm going to do all of them. For this surface, for this object, I'm also going to roll this corner as well, and I'm going to obtain what I consider to be a very good total shape for this one. I was able to get really good rounding and really good pointiness, the degree of pointiness that I wanted to put on there. And you say, well, some surfboards are way pointier than that. Consider that the same structure, the same type of object is creating this really flat one in the back and this well-rounded one at the tip, and you will see that you could shrink this to be as pointy as you want, basically. So that's where I'm going with this. And so by the time we get to here, we will be using some much more advanced techniques. When you look at our layouts, they still have the yellow four-sided shapes, but now I've placed a lot of my my slope poses, which is a coordinate system thing. And with these coordinate systems, I have more control sketches. And what I'm doing with these double control sketches here is that I have some of them that allow me to, you see, like these two right here really control the outside shape from the top view. And then these ones here that look like straight lines when you look at them from the top are not actually straight lines at all. If you look in the different plane, they control the curvature, the rocker of the nose. And they're not completely independent. The curve, that ends up creating this shape is still just a 4-point cubic. So turn this off, turn this off. This is still just a 4-point cubic, but I have combined the two sketches to create it. If I look in my view sets here, I'm going to show right here. I want to show you the control polygons. These control polygons, now see, in gray was my original straight line. These dark green ones are the pairs in the different planes, and the blue ones are the ones that combine the two sketches. And so it's still just a 4-point cubic from here to here, but I have a really nice control when I look at it in the top view, and I have really nice control when I look at it in the side view. There's a lot more you could do with this, and I'm sure that real surfboards have more features that I'm not even aware of. I know of a few right off the bat. I know that sometimes there's a groove at the top of the rail surface right here, so you can hold on to it if you're doing aerial maneuvers. I also know that some surfboards like to have something like a mini keel in here where they split this bottom surface and it kind of does a V. So we would have to add more faces to get that done. But right now, with just this, with this one, we are looking at the same topology as this object. And this object is the same thing as where we left things off last time, but I copied these objects on the bottom. All right, so now we have a specific project in mind. This is what we're going to build. This is the first serious actually modeling something with our lump of clay. So I hope that you will follow along with me, and catch you next time.